Introduce yourself, Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
We haven't done a solid Batman story in a while. Just a straight up Batman book. We've done tales.
We've done crazy,
and
friggin'
insane
dark
crap.
universe
And
Batmans.
tangents
Right.
and things that like aren't connected.
Yeah. How about a Batman story where nary another superhero shows up and we just talk about Bruce Wayne being Batman?
Okay.
How about that for once? It's not even DC Comics anymore. It's Batman Comics. And
does
also
he-
some other characters that show up sometime. Because this is Batman Ego from Darwin Cook, a celebrated and incredible creator, artist, writer. Darwin Cook, of course, did New Frontier, where it's a celebration of DC and his love letter to like the 60s American progress. This is just a straight up deconstruction of Batman. It's just Darwin Cook being like, hey, I'm going to tell just a dope-ass Batman story about why Bruce Wayne is Batman. How about that?
So it's Elseworlds?
No, well, yes. Yeah.
Like it exists
Sure.
within continuity, but also
not.
without.
Some Batman stories are evergreen, where it's like, it's Batman, he fights a street hood, he's wearing a nebulously Batman-esque costume. If you want it to be in continuity, it is. If you want it to be self-contained, it is. You know, there's a lot of stories like that. Sometimes, you know, you'll get an event like No Man's Land, which has 1,000 characters and that's cemented in continuity. Other times you get like a Batman Ego, where it's still Bruce Wayne. And if you use Ego to inform your understanding of Bruce Wayne, all the better.
Okay.
But don't get hung
It's not
up
like
on...
retelling his origin or...
No, there's one panel that shows the death of the Waynes, but in a way I've never seen, and it doesn't do it in a schlocky or
Does he do it from the
way.
Bullet's perspective?
No, it's still from our perspective.
Be very
as a viewer.
schlocky.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to see a big... I'm sure I've seen that. Of them going, oh! Yeah, no, I've seen that. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With like the barrel of the gun. Like
I don't know if
around
I've seen that. Yeah, where I'm the bullet. Yeah.
Yeah, it just gets closer to them.
Yeah, and like the view is like
Whoa!
spinning, with the bullet spinning. Yeah.
You've just given some young artist a new idea that they are absolutely going to do, and some DC editor is going to be like, oh, has no one ever done that? Yes! Darwin Cook, not a hack. In fact,
Darwin Hook.
Not a hack. Sometimes you really need to stipulate that shit,
Right.
you know, because you're like, oh, you're a celebrated. Oh, look at that. Why did you do that? Because I'm a hack.
But this has been done so many times.
Or no one should do that. But, you know.
Well, but I'm a hack, so...
Yeah, but no one ever did it, so there you go.
Yeah.
You're a true artist.
This looks like animated series style.
It does.
Here.
And in fact,
It even has the blimp with the spotlights.
yeah. Darwin Cook actually worked on segments of Batman the Animated Series. He came in during the new Batman and Superman Adventures, which is just what they called the Batman Animated Series when they moved it from Fox to WB, where they already had the Superman Animated Series. And then he worked a little bit on Batman Beyond as well. He actually left like a well-paying job to go do that and like work with Bruce Timm, and eventually he also worked in comics and set the world on fire. But his influence on Batman is just monumental to the point where apparently, and I've heard this a couple of times and I tried to find it, and I think some articles are kind of like redacting it because they read Batman Ego and were like, oh, that actually doesn't make any sense, is that the Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman, is supposed to be inspired by or taking cues from this story, which is why we're talking about it. There's no way that that's true. Maybe Pattinson read this and is using it to inform his character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like that
I
doesn't change the script.
I
That's his
sincerely doubt
choice,
it.
if so.
If he
It's got
does,
nothing to do with whatever.
Reeves is not going to care about that, and especially Warner Brothers. But they're also not going to do a scene from this. Because the villain of Batman Ego is Batman.
What?
So it does look like Batman the Animated Series.
I mean, that makes sense when you're talking about the word ego.
Ego, yeah.
It's about his self, about his identity. You might notice that this hardcover edition is like 3 times as thick as this one.
I did notice that.
Because
yeah.
Batman Ego is actually only about this long. It's a very quick, short, and dirty Batman story. But I gotta get like $39.99 out of you
for this awesome story.
Look at this
I
cover.
sold this for $6.95.
Right. That's not very much at all.
That's not very
This
much
is
at all.
way more.
Yeah, I gotta sell like 5 of these.
$6.95. That's how much 3 Jokers #1 cost.
It's called Batman Ego and Other Tales so that they can sell the Darwin Cook collection in like 5 years.
Oh,
there's a few more
sure.
things.
And why not?
And they'll be all the same ones,
Okay.
but plus a couple more.
They spell
Or
tales
some backups.
like an animal tale, not like a story tale.
Oh, yeah.
They did do that. Why?
Catwoman? Because
She
she's on the
does-
back cover.
Yeah, I don't think that costume has a tail, though.
Oh, he's getting tail.
So Batman Ego does look like the animated series, and I think it's like an homage to his work on that show. And I think he wants you to think animated series because this is a quintessential Batman story that is you can read it anywhere, anytime, doesn't matter. You know, at any point in Batman's history, you could read it. It takes place during year 3 of Batman's history
How do you know that?
because Robin's in it.
Oh.
Ah, okay.
And that's kind of like colloquially called year 3. I think Batman the Animated Series might be one of the most perfect demonstrations of Batman.
Batman was created in the 30s, right?
Yeah.
20s, 30s?
Yeah, late 30s, 39.
Yeah. So,
36.
like,
That show's
that's
gonna go
kind of how
back
the
to its
world
roots.
worked. The show had very much that feel to it with the automobiles and the architecture.
Yes. Well, it's a hodgepodge of all kinds of eras, but yeah, it wants you to think.
Because
Old.
they have computers and stuff, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also has like Studebakers and crap.
Right.
And black and white TVs.
Yeah, so it's like an alternate universe.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Which is
yeah.
cool.
Can we talk about the cover real quick
Oh,
before we
sure.
jump into the
Yeah,
story?
well, and depending on which version you have, this one is the direct sales edition, and it has like a Metropolis Fritz Lang kind of cover on it, which I adore. You pointed it out earlier when we were talking about doing the show. You were like, "Whoa, that cover's awesome!"
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First off, like, the spotlight becomes the symbol on his chest.
Yep.
So that's dope.
Yep.
But he's, like, just trapped in Gotham.
Yeah, he both is and is trapped by Gotham.
Yeah, I love it.
It's not really about Gotham, the story.
No,
but
it's about Batman, and Batman essentially is the protector of Gotham. They're intrinsically tied.
This is true, and Batman himself is, you know, the Gotham thing comes up. So Batman's in the midst, or rather, in the final denouement of a Joker adventure. He has just defeated the Joker.
Okay.
Not for the first time, by the way.
Wait.
He's dealt with Joker before. Joker is like, you know, he's Joker. The
Right.
Joker you know. He's a murderer. He's a psychopath. His themes.
Yeah.
He themes his crimes.
And he like defeated him, but this is not like the last time he's defeated the Joker.
This is year 3.
Right.
No.
Okay.
So he's beaten Joker. He's tired. He's wounded, and he's not done because he beat Joker. But in order to get the upper hand on Joker, he needed to get information, and so he strong-armed one of the Joker's hoods
Yeah.
to get information out of
We
him.
call them clowns.
No, we don't, because he didn't dress like a clown. I guess like Batman might call him a clown, but unironically.
Bozos?
Joker's plan involved stealing charity money, about like $40,000 worth or something like that. And Buster Snibbs was the hood who told Batman, gave him the tip that Batman needed to put the final kibosh on the Joker. But Buster has skipped town and taken the charity money.
Uh-oh.
So Batman's like, okay, so I've beaten Joker, now I gotta go stop Buster from running off.
Oh man, Buster is so screwed. First off, you ran off on Batman. You don't do that. But you double cross the Joker. You are dead.
Right. So Batman is on his way to chasing after Buster. He's tracked Buster down to the bridge. He's like making his way. He's like, okay, so he's trying to skip town. And that's when he realizes, like, I have been bleeding this entire time. Like, oh my God, I gotta take care of myself. But no time for that, I gotta go stop Buster.
Right after I stop this guy.
He even has a bandage on it already.
Yeah. So he is just kind of watching Buster at the time. Buster stops on the bridge and he gets out and he's like, oh, maybe he stashed the money. He's coming to pick it up right now. No, he's not picking up bags. He's going to the edge. Oh, he's gonna kill himself. I gotta stop him. So Batman swoops into action and he stops Buster from killing himself.
Okay, that was a mistake. I get that you want to save lives, but like whatever the Joker's gonna do to him is far worse than Buster jumping off a bridge.
I just gotta give him a chance.
So Batman stops Buster and Buster's like, what's wrong with you? Last night you threatened to drop me off a roof and now you're trying to stop me from falling off of one? What's your problem? Pick a lane, man.
I am a giant hypocrite.
So he points the gun at Batman to like get an opportunity to talk to Batman. And Batman is like, dude, I beat Joker. You're good. And he's like, yeah, right. Like,
Oh,
no.
did you beat Joker?
Yeah, you beat
Is he
Joker.
dead?
He's going to leave Arkham. They know. In fact, Darwin Cook drops a name in here. He says, Chucky Saul ratted you out. Now Joker knows that I ratted him out. Chucky Saul was a gangster in the Batman Mask of the Phantasm movie.
Oh.
I was like, oh, that's fun.
Nice.
So yeah, if you were thinking like, oh, is this kind of like an homage to the animated series? Yeah, in a definitive way. But Chucky Saul doesn't make it out of Batman the Mask of the Phantasm. So maybe this is pre that, or maybe just it's a fun use of the name.
Right.
I think that's really what it is. But he's literally like, I have a family, and can you imagine what Joker's going to do to them? Which is why I killed them. And that's why I'm here, to kill myself. Because whatever I do to them is
Right,
not
I killed
gonna...
them quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You would have tortured them.
Oh.
Right.
Oh,
Wow.
he turned around what I said and made it worse.
And Batman's like, oh, shit. And then Buster's like, thanks a lot. See you in hell, dipshit. And then shoots himself.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Yikes.
Yeah.
This is a crazy beginning to a Batman
Right?
story.
So Batman is driving home, presumably. Case closed.
Yeah.
And he's
all those loose ends are tied up.
pretty much. So he's making his way home, and as he's driving, Cook cuts to the speedometer as Batman is plagued with these thoughts he's having. Like Hugo Strange is talking about how Batman must be a victim of schizophrenia, a personality disorder, and how the mayor is talking to Gordon about how, he does some good for the city, but he must be a psychopath. And then the image of...
Was Batman just listening in on their conversations all the time?
they're all talking to Bruce Wayne. These are conversations that Bruce Wayne is privy to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, he's not that bad.
I don't know. I think sometimes he's a cool guy.
Yeah, I imagine that Bruce Wayne engineers conversations like that all the time, where he's like,
Probably.
what do you think about that Batman character?
Think about the Batman.
I don't know.
Drop whatever you're talking about, because I'd like to talk about Batman, and everyone's opinions about him go.
Guy dresses up like a bat. Seems crazy
Clearly
to me.
has issues. Great trailer moment.
Yep.
We also see Buster burning in hell and just saying, I'll see you in hell, you masked lunatic, which is what he said right before he died.
Oh my god, I'm going to hell too.
And as he's remembering all these moments, he's also going faster and faster and faster. He's getting home until he finally reaches the edge of the cave, that is. He hits the brakes right before he careens into the cave.
Right.
Well, yeah, still Batman.
But to show you, like, he's burying the needle, he's driving himself too far, and he's just pushing himself to the edge, right to the edge. And then he kind of just like collapses. He goes into Wayne Manor. He sets up on the computer some like pictures, pulls up a massive image of his mom and his dad, and he tells them the story about Buster. Just tells them like, he had this family. I stopped him. The Joker. He killed his family, then himself. I couldn't stop it. What am I gonna do? And he thinks about how he has been through some shit in the 3 years that he's been Batman. But the memory of the Waynes and his own personal mission have always kind of steeled himself and planted his feet and gotten him back on track. But this time, maybe it's time to stop. Things have gotten kind of complicated.
That's pretty messed up.
It's pretty messed up. The image
I don't know if I should keep doing
the image
this.
of Buster's brain splattered across Batman's face and him just being like, oh!
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty traumatic.
Yeah! But he's thinking about packing it in.
Okay.
So he falls asleep at his computer, and he is awoken by the scream from his computer of Batman yelling, "You fool." And the image of Batman by Cook is this like demonic, venomized personification of his cape and cowl.
Yeah.
And he says, "Do you think you know pain, you coward? I'll show you pain." And that's when we get the name of the book. It's like Ego, a psychotic slide into the heart of darkness.
Ooh.
That's the true title for this
Oh
story.
my god.
Nice.
So he says, "Have I got your attention?" And Batman's like, "Who are you?" Bruce Wayne, that is. Says, "Who are you?" And he goes, "Who am I? Don't be stupid. You know who I am. And I've been with you forever. What are you doing? Looking at pictures? Ooh." I'll pull up some pictures. So he pulls up a picture of like young Bruce and Martha and Thomas on Christmas. And I guess it's a Christmas story, but I don't care. Like, I'm not doing it at Christmas time. We've done too many Batman stories at Christmas.
Right.
Also, it's not really that important. Like, there's one reference to A Christmas Carol in it. But for the most part, it's just kind of like Man, those are good times, right? Nah, until I showed up. He goes, I know you're thinking about like what it would be like if they were alive, but they're not. They're dead, and they'll always be dead, and I'll always be here. And Bruce Wayne is like, okay, so Scarecrow must have hit me or something. And he's like under the computer, like looking for the power switch. He's like, okay, so this is freaking out. And he just keeps saying, you can't help them anymore. They're dead. They're dead. And he unplugs the computer. He's like, they're dead. Boom. And he goes, that was weird. Seems like I should probably get some sleep. And as he is planning to leave, Batman appears before him in a plume of green smoke as like this kind of hulking monster. And he says, my God. And Batman says, perhaps. But lately you've been lacking faith. Batman is threatened by Bruce Wayne's hypocrisy, his weakness, his humanity.
His idea that, like,
his
maybe
doubt.
this is going too
doubt.
far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I've gone too far. Maybe it's time for me to stop.
Yeah.
And Batman being like,
get rid of me that easily.
yeah, no. Like, it's not... Batman says at one point to Bruce Wayne, like, you think I'm a costume you put on.
Mm-hmm.
You call me Batman.
You're Batman!
No, he's like, you call me Batman. I'm not Batman. You feel comfortable calling me Batman, but that's just what I look like. But, like, I've always been there. And I've been there ever since that Christmas when you got your Zorro toy. And we see, like, Christmas, and the Waynes gave him a cool action figure, because Darwin Cook is, like, red-blooded American like toy boy who likes his action figures. But we see Christmas at the Waynes, and essentially Bruce gets a Zorro action figure, and he is over the moon. He gets his father a tie that clearly Martha picked out for him that sucks.
Yeah,
What are you talking about? Should say, like, Margaritaville on it.
He just says, oh, thanks, son. And his mom just gives him a look like,
I got you.
It's so useless.
I
You
love
can't
it.
wear that anywhere.
no, well, and
It has a picture of a palm tree on it.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like an image of an island.
But
Right.
if he never wears
Like
it,
a Looney Tunes island.
little Bruce is going to know, and that's Martha's victory.
Yep.
Yeah. He's a doctor and like a billionaire.
I'm going to make you look like a fool one day.
So Martha gets the necklace
Oh.
at this
Oh,
juncture.
yeah.
Bruce is the age that they're going
Right.
to die.
It's the
Right.
year.
It's
that
the
they-
year.
yeah.
It's the last Christmas. So
Yikes.
they have a wonderful Christmas. It's Christmas evening. I don't think it's Alfred who is their manservant in this. It must be like Alfred's dad or his predecessor or whatever.
Well, yeah, no
whatever
mustache.
history you want to deal with. But he's
Yeah.
also super old, and Bruce is 8. But Alfred doesn't appear in this book, which I find kind of surprising.
Weird.
I
Okay.
find Alfred to be intrinsic to the Batman mythos. I'm
Yeah.
surprised he doesn't like factor in.
Maybe they're like,
Gordon
if
comes
Alfred
up.
was there, he would snap him out of it. So, like, Alfred can't be.
No, it has to be that he has this fever dream in the cave alone.
And he's alone.
Yeah, but they're having dinner, and Thomas gets called away because there's an emergency with one of his patients, and he's like, I gotta go. And Martha's like, you promised that you'd stay. I mean, like, Bruce has been looking forward to this. You're never here. And he goes, all right, well, the roads are a little icy. Son, you want to watch the road for me? So he brings Bruce along. Bruce takes Zorro. They go in the car, and while they're on their way, Bruce and his father have like a heart-to-heart where basically Bruce is like, when you gave Mom her gift, she cried. Did she not like it? And so Thomas tries to explain the understanding of, he's like, sometimes we laugh and we're sad, and sometimes we cry when we're happy. Does that make sense to you? And he's like, not at all.
No, you didn't
I'm 8.
explain that at all.
Nope, you just described things I asked you about. And he goes, one day you will understand. So then Thomas leaves Bruce in the car to go deal with his patient, and Bruce like plays with the action figure. He pretends he's in the Indy 500, and then he eventually just gets bored.
Yeah.
And he leaves. And when he goes inside, Thomas is trying to resuscitate his patient, and then his patient dies. He's just old.
Yeah.
And Bruce sees like his first dead body, which is a experience for him, and it gives Bruce pause, and he's basically just like, "Are you and Mom gonna die?" And Thomas has to kind of try to explain. Oh, thanks. You gotta spring this on me.
Well, I'm a doctor,
No.
so yes, we
I
will
will never
eventually.
die.
And, you know, at
No.
first we'll be, you know, hard and stiff, but then we'll soften up a little bit.
No, he does not describe what it is like to die. He's just like, he goes, yes, your mother and I and you will all die, but not before our time. I promise.
Oh boy.
And it's not like Bruce created Batman. You promised you wouldn't die. Like,
Right.
Batman says, when your mother closed the door on you that night, you weren't alone. I was there with you, faceless and nameless, but I could feel you and you could feel me.
Oh.
That was the day that Batman was born. You're like, what? But this is the image of the passing of the Waynes, by the way. It's just them exploding from this gigantic gun superimposed over Bruce's face with these like pearls kind of like dotting the image.
Yeah.
And it was a short time later, your whole world changed in an instant, and then from that moment, we were constant champions. And like, I was there with you when you made your vow, when you went on your pilgrimage, when you like trained yourself and all that crap. But like, there I was.
I'm not the Enchantress, though.
No, that's Batman Damned. But he says, you prefer to call me Batman, but my name is Fear. That's who I am.
Okay.
And I live inside you. And basically, you knew your purpose, but I gave you the method to conquer your fear. Like, I gave you Batman to do that. And for a while, for a brief instant, it was perfection. You know, we put on this costume, we scared the shit out of people, we beat the hell out of them.
I mean, you fell off a roof a couple times and really almost killed yourself.
Yeah, that was Earth 1. And he's like, you took the fear inside you, and you shared it with those who deserved it. And it was magnificent. You know, and we see this like montage of Batman like mercilessly just attacking people from, you know, high perches. We see like images of fear on the faces of his victims, and like, you know, just the POV of this dude about to get like grabbed by Batman.
Right. Terrifying.
And he's just like, for a short time it was perfect until word spread and your vanity got in the way and your need for celebrity and your desire to not be alone. And we see the images of like Batman shaking hands with Gordon and the signal coming on. And he says, and I have endured this because it's a pitiful human expression. And he says, the war necessitates Gordon. And he goes, that's interesting, you thought I meant Gordon. And Bruce is like, who were you talking about? And he goes, I was referring to the boy. And we see Robin, and he goes, he can take care of himself. And he goes, I see. Do you really believe? And he interrupts him, and he just says, I will not discuss this. Like,
I
Robin
like that,
is a sore spot.
I really like that Bruce is having a conversation at this point.
Yeah. Oh, no. He entirely...
Like, this is a tale.
This is a tale.
Yeah. It's like, well, the thing's here talking to me.
I might as well.
Just roll with it, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't just punch you.
I'm dreaming or something.
I mean, yeah. It's a waking dream.
Yeah.
A dream to some.
A nightmare to others. I love that Batman has like this fundamental problem with Robin. Like, the deep down, the Batman, the fear in him is like, why did you bring this boy into your life?
Yeah.
Because you're afraid of being alone. Like, that doesn't help us.
What about me? You've got me.
Well, and it's like, it's too bright. Like, this is, no.
Right.
In a way, and this is bizarre, but like, to have kids is to bring someone else into the world.
Yeah.
But Bruce isn't just Bruce. Bruce is Batman. So he has to bring someone else into the world like he was.
That's
and not that he killed Robin's parents, but like, no, I'm gonna shape you and mold you how I was shaped.
Yeah, Bruce's relationship with Robin is very complicated. I like the approach where he's like, I enlisted you so that you wouldn't be like me. Because there is no proto-Batman. Like, I went nuts and I trained myself.
Right. I wasn't trained by a guy in a suit.
Yeah, I didn't.
So
I wasn't
you're going to be
mentored.
something fundamentally different.
Yeah, like, I'm going to help
am.
you solve the mystery of your parents' murder. You're going to get justice. And then I'm going to give you the tools necessary to work through it. Like, in essence, Dick Grayson will be a better Batman. And arguably is.
But he's still gonna be a Batman.
Well, I don't think that Bruce ever really planned on Dick becoming Batman, but maybe.
I don't mean actually becoming Batman. I just mean you are being a vigilante, a crime fighter. You're seeing wrong done in the world and you are trying to right it.
Right.
Yeah, he's like a derivative of the idea that Bruce came up with.
But you're not doing it just from a place of there's pain in the world.
You wouldn't have done this if not for me.
That's the thing. Is like, and I know
like
this.
I'm part of what you are.
And Batman's like kind of like, well, and I know this works. And it's like, no, it doesn't. But maybe if you have a mentor like I didn't, and I shield you from the true horrors that I experience, and just allow you to constructively fight crime, that one day you can stop. I mean, that's one interpretation. It never really comes up. We just see this image of like Bruce Wayne thinking that Batman thinks that Gordon is weak, but really Batman is like, no.
Right.
The child soldier you have is the weakness.
Yeah.
But then...
Well, that's how I know that you are
like not
craving
that
like
other shit. Like
more like other people to like be with you.
Right. Like the reason why
like you are afraid to be alone.
Yeah. And the reason why this isn't perfect all the time is because of your humanity.
Yeah.
You corrupted it. But also, and he does point out, he's like, and then things got complicated. because of your vanity, because of your showiness, and because of like the nature of your effectiveness, you attracted an extreme type of criminal. And he proceeds to show you like flamboyant, power-mad opportunists and vengeful madmen.
Right.
And they rise to his unspoken challenge. I kind of like that.
Right.
Like, but
right.
There's one that you directly created that you won't fix. There's one that kills more than all of them combined, and it's your fault because you refuse to exact justice. So essentially Batman is like, he divorced himself from Bruce Wayne to kind of explain to him why it's time for the Joker to die.
Right. You gotta...
This is it.
Yeah.
Like, Joker has to die. And Bruce says, we're not killers. And he goes, you want to talk about killing and blood? I will show you blood and death. And, like, rains skulls upon him. And he's like, feel the weight of all the dead that are on your conscience. Bruce Wayne humanitarian. Because of your inaction and your weak morality, Joker kills, and every time he leaves, like every time he escapes, he kills.
Yeah.
Like, you're buried on under the mountains of corpses that you created.
Yeah.
So, and then he goes, and at the end of the day, didn't we reap what we sow? Didn't we create him in the first place? And then we see the origin of the Joker via the Red Hood origin. And so we see like Darwin Cook's kind of like, and this is very much like a storyboard for the animated series. And in fact, Darwin Cook did the storyboards for an episode of Batman the Animated Series. I think it was called Legends of the Dark Knight. And it's like a number of different vignettes that showcase like 3 different kids' perspectives on what Batman is. And one of them is like, oh yeah, my dad or somebody was like a night watchman and he remembers that Batman fought the Joker. And it's like a goofy kind of like 50s version of Batman versus the Joker, complete with new animation that's like set in that time. It's like very Dick Sprang and different voice actors. And then the girl is like, no, Batman is big and scary. And she tells you the Dark Knight Returns scene where Batman fights the mutant leader, and Darwin Cook storyboarded that sequence. And it's like, oh, you can do it! Like, you can do an animated version of The Dark Knight Returns, and it's awesome! And of course, because she's a girl that looks kind of like Carrie, she like inserts herself as Robin in that story. It's cool. Anyway, but yeah, you could tell like Cook was like, yeah, here's some storyboards. If you guys want to do the origin of the Joker in the animated series, like, here you go. But yeah, like basically Batman reminds Bruce Wayne, like, we left him to his fate when he fell in the acid, and then we had to go tie up loose ends. We just assumed, you know, that was it for him. But if we'd followed up, you know, maybe we could have stopped him.
Or if we'd done anything after he was created.
Right. Well, and so we see like Batman versus the Joker in this like never-ending battle, like depicted against like a Gotham that's very much the animated series inspired, where like massive companies have humongous dioramas depicting their business and so forth.
Yep.
Which I really enjoy.
No, I'm constantly pouring coffee.
Yeah,
I love, you would never be able to see that coffee pot from the ground. That building is so tall.
That is for us.
That's for the viewers of this story.
Yeah, and I guess the policemen who operate those Zeppelins.
Yeah. No, those are
This
for
city's really cool looking from up here.
those are for the businessmen that are going to invest in Gotham.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I can imagine Gothamites, like true Gothamites, just being like, why do you build these massive things? Why is our toy factory depicted with a massive, horrible clown that laughs cacophonously throughout the Meadowlands?
Because I have this little diorama in my office.
No, but don't you know Joker's gonna use that as a hideout?
Oh my god, I never thought about it like that.
So
I've created a monster city.
So essentially, Batman like lays it out for Bruce Wayne. Like we got to kill him.
Yeah.
One day we're gonna kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "So don't you have anything to say for yourself? Like, are you in?" And Bruce laughs at him and says, "Like me talking to you, Batman. Like, is it true you're an underdone potato?" Which is a Christmas Carol line, which is what Scrooge says to Jacob Marley's ghost, where he says, "You know, a slight disorder of the stomach can affect your senses."
Yeah. You're an underdone potato.
Yeah, or an undigested beet of beef, or a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese. But yeah, that's the only Christmas Carol reference we get. But as he's laughing in Batman's face, Batman just blasts him with light out of his hands.
Whoa.
And smashes him into the Robin suit memorial.
Oh.
Bruce Wayne, I am not some conjurer of cheap tricks.
Exactly.
So he has a Robin memorial?
I think it's just where he keeps the suits.
Oh, okay.
And one day he'll be like, "Oh, that's a cool idea. I'm going to keep doing that with the dead ones." But he says, "If you ignore me, do it at your own peril. You could retire. You could let me fester inside you, but I will come out and I will conjure true madness for you."
If you try to put me away, I'll become even worse. I'm going to make your life a nightmare.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And so we see like this image
Yikes.
of Bruce Wayne from his perspective if he weren't Batman. It's just him talking to different pretty women and droll, dry business people, where, you know, one of them's like a gold digger, you know, there's like a golfer, there's an investment banker, you know, there's like a girl that stood up, a girl that's disappointed by him, you know. And it's great because you know that Batman is playing all of them. Like you realize that in this sequence where like he's becoming all of them, because at one point like the sad one that looks kind of like Talia goes, "You always let me down, Bruce, I'm sorry, but," and then he goes, "You're breaking my heart." He just like, that's him.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's
yeah.
fun. I
That's
really want to
cool.
see this animated.
Yeah.
And Batman says, and Bruce Wayne goes, "I've had enough of this madness." And he goes, "Oh, you want to see madness?" And then he just devolves into fire, and then his mouth absorbs Bruce. And he says, I promise you, I will wake you up every night screaming.
Yikes.
I'll show you what true madness is." And when the smoke and mirrors clear of like the fire imagery, Bruce Wayne opens his eyes and Batman's not in front of him anymore. He's like cowering by the giant penny. Like it's all kind of like a reaction.
Sorry, that took a lot out of me.
Exactly. I don't think it's necessarily he's wounded. I think it's more like for a minute he's showing his vulnerability.
Right.
You know, where
Right.
he's-
Like he was sort of out of control when he was being the fire.
Yeah,
you know.
like I kind of went too far.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just don't want. Batman's deep loneliness is inherent in both of them, and he's like, I don't want to be cast aside.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and I'm lashing out at you because you're talking about killing me.
Well, and you're going to replace me
Yeah.
with the boy.
No, the boy's done. He's done talking about the boy.
Well, no, but in the sense, like, if you're talking about Batman ego and the
Yeah.
fact that, like, you have to do
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
that Batman is and does, and you have to listen to this whim, like, if you're not doing that with Robin...
Yeah, if you're taking care of him, how can you foster
you
and
have me?
nurture all of your own insecurities?
Yeah, no, he gets rid of your fear. He
Yeah.
gives you hope.
Exactly. I can't have that. But he doesn't. That's not carried over as much in that story. But Cook is a master storyteller, and it could be that like all that's inherent in that one image of Robin. But Bruce says, you know, yeah, I've made choices and I've had to live with the repercussions, but like I don't think I can live with it anymore. So tell me how. What can I do?
You want to stick around?
Yeah, you want to stick around? I don't know what to do. Like
Uh,
I don't. Like I'm weary.
Sorry, this is like 5 more cards in for my speech. I have to get there. I didn't.
Oh, shit.
I had more
didn't
planned.
expect- oh, we broke through. Okay, cool. And he goes, "I have a solution, and I kind of got it from an old friend of yours named Harvey Dent." And he proceeds to remind you about Harvey, and he's like, "Until the acid came and it unleashed the other part of him." And Two Faces Obsession like showed us, you know, that not only was he like a fierce opponent for us, But we saw that like Harvey was put in this position where he was still Harvey and he wasn't culpable for the actions of the other. And Bruce goes, "You're talking about his condition. He's mentally ill."
Right. I'm not doing that.
You're talking about Batman. But he goes, "No, you're talking about a complete psychotic break."
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to do that.
He's got two friggin' personalities inside him.
Exactly.
Like that he expresses
Who do you think you're talking to?
physically on his body.
Yeah, but
And he switches between them in normal discourse. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
no,
That's crazy.
Well, he's just like
It's like I keep you inside, like
Yeah.
you're down
I'm
there.
talking to myself.
Like you don't talk out of my mouth.
no, yeah, I'm hearing this. I'm not going.
That's
like, "Ugh."
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not that far.
Well, he's just listening to him right now, but he does kind of challenge him by saying like, "No, Harvey's mentally ill. His condition isn't something to look up to."
Right.
And he goes, "Okay,
something
fair
to
enough.
aspire to.
All right. The mentally ill thing, fair enough. Let me give you another example." And he proceeds to talk about how about school teachers that become murderers when they get like enlisted. And we're talking about like ancient tribesmen who were inhabited by the spirits of great warriors. And even your own hero had a dual life that he couldn't control. And he says, "Yeah, but I'm not a killer." And he goes,
Zorro killed people.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, what your action figure was all about that. And he goes, "No, I'm not a killer." He goes, yeah, you keep reminding me.
Right.
And this is the first time I've ever really seen it where Cook was like, "I guess you're doing it out of some misguided honor of your father's Hippocratic oath or his job of being a healer." And I was like, "Oh, I kind of like that."
Interesting.
And he says, "Maybe it's the fact that you were traumatized because you watched your parents get killed in front of your fucking face."
Right.
Listen, like...
So, like, you won't kill because, like, you don't want to do to someone else what happened to you.
And he goes, "Well, I'll tell you what, like, that's fair. And, like, I'm not responsible for your actions any more than you're responsible for mine. You could be Bruce Wayne and sleep with women and, like, give money to whatever, sick hospitals or whatever. But, like, when Batman's needed, I'll just take over." And he goes, yeah. No, I'm not doing a self-induced psychotic break.
Yeah, we're not doing a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde
No,
kind
we're
of
not
thing.
doing that. And in fact, there
not gonna
is
voluntarily
we
do
see,
that.
we see a theater that Batman conjures of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Huh.
But he goes, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." And he goes, "No,
See,
no, no.
it's still a no.
Yeah, it's still I hear you." He goes, No. I'm talking about the freedom to act. You get freedom. We get to be ourselves. You get what you want. I get what I want." And he goes, No. That's not. Without me, your vengeance would become something monstrous. And we see an image of Batman killing the Joker, but only from Batman's perspective of Joker's horror and blood splashing across his face. Like just this kind of image of like how even Joker could be afraid of what Batman could become.
Right.
"Well, then you've left me no choice. You have to kill me." And so he presents a gun, and Bruce is like, "Where'd you get this?" And he goes like, "You know what gun this is. Now take it. You can use it. You can take one life, and it's mine." And Batman's like, "I can't. It would be committing suicide." Like he refuses to let Batman die.
Right.
And then he just drops the gun and he screams into the heavens, "Is this my life?" Which I think is completely fair and valid. It's one of the few like non-poetic moments where he's like, "What the hell is this?
Right.
Is this like, am I going to have to deal with this?
messed
every so often?
up.
How weird is this?"
I don't want to do this.
And he goes, "Is this what I have to look forward to for the rest of my life?" And Batman's like, "Yes."
Like, are we talking a once-a-year thing?
Right. No,
Well, only at
I won't
Christmas
yell at you all the
or-
time. It's more like you're going to have to deal with like,
Yeah, you're gonna have to wrestle with this conundrum, this problem.
right.
These warring feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bruce is like, "Okay, there is a line we can't cross. No killing. It has to be the only difference between us and them. Because as scary as Batman is, he also has to be a symbol of hope." And we see him like beat up a criminal and then save the victim, and the victim looking like hopeful and content as opposed to horrified.
And okay at taking his hand instead of like, "I just ripped out this guy's heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry, you're free."
Yeah. But he goes, "I have to be a symbol of hope, and if you can live with that, then Bruce Wayne will take the responsibility of Batman." So essentially, Batman's like, "I will accept you and won't quit if you take on the no-killing deal and turn into something else. Like, we'll take our fear and be this agent of vengeance, but without the monstrousness, without the horror.
Right.
And Batman's like, agreed. And then he explodes into an image of like light, gas, and bats. And he leaves behind a old photograph which just flutters into Bruce Wayne's hands. And
He exploded into bats.
He exploded into bats. Joker escaped, and he's taken hostages at this popular nightclub. And the police are surrounding the area, and they're waiting for Batman. But Bullock is kind of like, he isn't here, Jim.
Hey.
We got to go in.
At least we know it's not Buster's family.
Right. Yeah. That we can cross off the list. But, you know, the police are getting antsy, and they're like, all right, Gordon, we got to go in. And then Batman calls on the police radio. And one of them's like, Chief, it's him. And Gordon's like, I was getting worried. I thought something might have happened to you. And Batman says, something did happen to me, Commissioner. But I managed to come away from it in one piece. And he goes, I don't know what that means.
I didn't hear anything on the police scanner. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and he goes, no, never mind. And as he's driving to the scene, we see that the photo is the image of Bruce and celebrating his last Christmas with his parents. And he keeps it in the Batmobile.
Yeah, but they're not skeletons this time.
They're not. Yeah, the photo turned into skeletons earlier.
Yeah.
But that, like, it's a reminder. Like, when you get in the car as Batman, this is why you did it. And it's like your humanity comes with you.
Right.
And he says, never mind, I'm on my way. Batman races to the scene. So the whole story is not so much, like, it's kind of a deconstruction of Batman, but it's more about Batman reconciling his pursuit. Like, we can tell you Frank Miller's Year One 1,000 different ways. Why does Batman become Batman? His parents are killed, trained a lot, kicks ass, takes names, dresses awesome.
That's how he becomes
That's how
Batman.
he becomes Batman. But why does he stay Batman?
Right.
This is Batman Ego. I think it's excellent. It's another wonderful demonstration of Darwin Cook's genius, taken far too early, like the Waynes themselves. But his work is so impactful and so transcendent that, like, every time someone's exposed to it, it's like he's still here. Just get a little bit more Darwin Cook. Also, some of his work is translated into some incredible stuff. We got some fun animated projects that he worked on. Some people actually made action figures based off of his designs, which is kind of fun. And everything else that he's produced, you can check out. It's everywhere.
Well, I mean, there's stuff in that book.
Yeah, right. You can get the hardcover, which in the description below this video, which has everything in it is by him, whether it's written and drawn or just written. And the one I think that's actually, there's 2 stories in there that are written by Cook that are not drawn, and they're still fun. One's by Sale, and I don't remember what the other one is, but it's like a homage to like a Frank Miller kind of looking Batman. But it's more like tongue-in-cheek. It's like a joke. But it also has that fun Batman Spirit crossover book that we did on another show. It was a book that was what we call a ringer in that show, because it was just so good. There's also a Catwoman story. I think Cook is also the reason why Catwoman looks the way she does now, like with the goggles and the whole design for Selina. I think he's responsible for that redesign. So
it's a good design.
It's a solid design.
I like the goggles.
I remember not really thinking about Catwoman's design for like ever as a kid, because like Catwoman has been anything. I remember being surprised by it in the animated series, but then completely falling for it, like not having any complaints. But in the comics, it was like a purple cat suit. Sometimes there'd be a tail. Eventually they realized that was dumb. They cut off the tail.
Sometimes her hair would be flowing out of it, and sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And other times she would wear like the equivalent of a female superhero costume with like a cape and stuff. Like she has had a lot of designs, none of which I would call necessarily iconic. But Cook was like, I'll fix that. There you go. And I never really thought about it until someone said she has an iconic design now. And I was like, oh yeah. To the point where they mucked with it in the current Batman run. And it's still close, but because they changed it,
you're like, you know what? No.
There's a reason why Spider-Man's costume doesn't have all this extra shit on it. Or why it has a lot less shit on it.
Right.
Because they nailed it. When he has a different costume, it's a totally different costume. You know what I mean?
There's a reason.
They don't just add crap to it.
Right.
Other than these little like spider armpits.
The armpits he started with. They got rid of them eventually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which I think was actually a good streamlining of the costume. But I know people who will like go to their grave fighting me on that one. Where they're like,
How's
no,
he
arm
supposed to
webs
glide
forever.
without the arm webs? He lost an ability.
He uses webs to swing. He doesn't
He
need
was
to
more
glide.
powerful, and you made him less powerful.
You know, actually, I have a childhood justification for it. As a kid, I was like, if he really needs the armpit webs, he could just shoot webs into his armpits.
Yeah, he's got the
That's
web.
a good point. You can just make them
And then just, oh, there they are again.
Yep.
All right, sticklers. I know you love Ditko. I do too, but you know.
Right.
By the way, Ditko's version, they were obtrusive. Well, it was like from here to here. I'm like, that's a lot of web.
Well,
Yes.
you would need a lot of surface area in order to actually get an effective glide.
Batman Ego. Buy it. It's great. And we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
So long.
So year 1 was formative. Year 2 was like, I'm Batman. Year 3 is, I have a protege.
Yes. Yeah. Year 1 is, I'm getting my sea legs. Year 2 is, I'm Batman. Year 3 is, I've nailed it. I can bring in children's soldiers.
Okay, I got this.
Okay, I got this. I'm so confident in my abilities, I'm going to bring in child soldiers into my army.
Yeah. Year 4, this is great. I'm going to bring on another child. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, well, year 4 is, I guess, year 4 through 16, not much happens. And then year 17, my boy leaves. In year 18, you know, another one shows up. And then year 19, we don't talk about the boy anymore.
That's too many years. That ages Batman too much.
That's true, yeah. Get it out of here, kiboshed.